Hey there. Do I have a fun story for you today? It's fun and funny and insightful. And I hope it will expand you to think about some ways that you could work with me as a coach, and also some ways that you can yourself, even if we don't work together, that you can yourself notice the signs and messages that are everywhere to support you. So, I've been working with this client for a while, and he just had this major breakthrough. I'm going to tell you about it later in a different video because the breakthrough is really awesome. But that's not the point of this video. So his breakthrough has involved, he's wanted to change jobs and has really been struggling with that process. And what he came to in the last couple of weeks, well, I'll tell you, he was at a Christmas concert and he was listening to, it was a piano player at this Christmas concert, and it just struck him while he was listening to music. Now, that's no accident. I think that art in all of its various forms can open our minds. So I think that's why it happened when he was at this concert listening to this music. And he said it just struck him that this person does something that they enjoy for a living. And that's possible. People actually do that. And he had been thinking all along, this had not been a conscious thought. We had not gotten to it in our coaching yet, but he had been thinking all along, I have to find another corporate job. I have to find another 9 to 5. I have to find another office to work in. And he didn't want to do that. And that was the source of all of his resistance. So that awareness came to him at this concert. So we've been working on that. And in our last session, we met at a coffee shop in person, and we were working on dreaming, and which was a real challenge for him because he really wanted to get logical and be like, okay, but how does that practically work? But before you can get to, okay, how does that practically work? He needed to do some dreaming. Like, what does he enjoy? What does he want to do? Like, suspend reality for a while and just be in the dreaming, because that's how you create your dream job. That's how you create your dream life. That's why it's called dream job, dream life. You have to start by dreaming. So, but he was really resistant to doing that. But this concert opened that up to him. So we had been talking about that for the last month, and he had been working on his dream list, and he was really making amazing progress. I mean, really, the last month has been like super speed, amazing. So we're sitting there, and he just kind of interrupts the conversation, and he's like, I'm sorry, I'm really distracted because in the corner on the floor behind you is a sticky note, and it's a drawing of Snoopy. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. And he's like, I don't know why I felt like I had to say that to you. I'm like, oh, that's funny. So I don't believe there are any accidents or coincidences. So I just wrote in my notes, Snoopy message, ? So, went about my day, forgot about it. I'm preparing for his next session, and I see in my notes, Snoopy message. So I look up Snoopy. You guys, Snoopy. Who knew? So I want to share this with you. I want to share with you what I found out about Snoopy and how it is exactly what he has been working on. So, here's what it said, what I found about Snoopy. Snoopy imagines himself to speak, but never actually does. This has been an issue we've been working on. He has very articulate thoughts, but they're never verbalized. Exactly an issue that we've been working on. He's loyal. This is exactly the personality traits of this person. He's loyal, imaginative, and good-natured. On the whole, he shows great love, care, and loyalty. And he's obsessed with cookies. My client is also obsessed with cookies. I can't make this shit up. The moral of Snoopy is that big dreams lead to big things. You guys, this is exactly what we were talking about in our session that day. Snoopy was the biggest dreamer of them all. His wild imagination often led to even wilder, more fantastic adventures in real life. Snoopy knew that you must have a big dream if you're going to lead a big life. So I sent this to my client. I was like, you're going to think I'm crazy because his brain doesn't think this way. You're going to think I'm crazy, but follow me here. And he loved it, of course. And he said, weird coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Snoopy was my go-to as a little boy. Had about 1 million different Snoopy stuffed animals. had his bed sheets, Snoopy Halloween costumes. I still have a lot of Snoopy Christmas decorations. Isn't that wowza? So furthermore, I find this document that is the top 10 lessons that I learned from Snoopy. Who did this? This is, I should credit this work. I found it online. It's from the International Reading Association. And these lessons are exactly what we've been working on in our coaching. Now, we've been working together for 2 years. We meet every other week for 2 years, and we have just made so much progress in every area of his life. And this is just like, if we would have written down, really we do. We have a plan. We have a coaching plan, and all these things are in it. So number 1 top 10 lesson that I learned from Snoopy. It's okay to be afraid. Just don't let your fears control you. This is one of his goals. 2, persistence wins out. 3, it's what you think of yourself that counts. We do a lot of thought work. I do a lot of thought work with this client. What are you telling yourself about yourself? Because that's creating your reality. Sometimes you need to talk. We've talked about his formula. He has, he used to, he doesn't really do this much anymore, but he used to get into these emotional, he would call them pits. He would have this emotion and then he would get really down, like for weeks. And, I think that's only happened once in the last 2 years that we've been working together, but it used to happen a lot. And we figured out his formula for not getting in the pit. And sometimes you need to talk. That's like the second thing in his formula that we figured out. Sometimes you need to listen. Do what you love to do. Exactly what we were talking about in the session. Number 7, it's important to have friends that care. Number 8, big dreams lead to big things. Number 9, action creates reality. We've been talking about this a lot. Your thoughts create your feelings, create your actions, create your outcomes. And 10, laugh every day. Isn't that great? I was never a Snoopy fan, and I'm a big Snoopy fan now. So I just wanted to share this with you because it's so poetic that we've been talking about these things. He's had breakthroughs. He's really at a pivotal point where he's figured out what his block is. We've identified lots of blocks along the way, but we knew there was one block that was just, for the last couple of months, we just can't get to it. There's something standing in the way. And we just figured that out. And he wasn't allowing himself to dream, and he didn't want to look for another corporate job, but he wasn't seeing the possibilities. So once he started dreaming, he's on a roll. So, we're not quite, I told him last time, I'm like, don't let your brain say, how are we actually going to do this? Because we're not ready for that yet. We're in the phase where we're just dreaming up possibilities, and we're loosening up our brain to just think about, what do people do in the world? What do I like to do? And then later we'll talk about how do we actually move forward, but that's not what we're ready for right now. So I thought it was so poetic that that's the phase we're in. And the Snoopy Post-it was on the floor. Someone had drawn a Snoopy Post-it. So there's signs everywhere. If you just look and you see, oh, that's strange. That squirrel is looking straight at me. And then look up the message that a squirrel spirit is there to bring you. When you find a Post-it note in the corner on the floor of a coffee shop and you're like, that's weird, look up the spiritual meaning of Snoopy. That's what I did. I typed in spiritual meaning of Snoopy, and I got some really interesting things. So there's signs and support everywhere if you just have the eyes to look, and if you just believe that everything is there for you to support you. So I hope that's helpful on your journey. If I can help you in any way, I'll put the link to connect with me. You can connect through my website, citycricket.net. You can send me a message, or you can sign up for coaching on the website. And I'll also include the links wherever you're watching this. I'll have links to reach out to me. So I hope you're having a great day. Here's to Snoopy.